It's the crypto lifestyle, baby.
Hey, I got a question for you.
I'm on the daily grind, I'm taking care of work, I'm getting paid today, I'm doing things to make it right.
Is your money working for you, or are you working for money?
It's the life I lead.
It's the crypto lifestyle, baby.
Okay, guys, so we are ready to roll once again. The team will be here in about 30 seconds or so, so let's get this rolling. Here we got Drazen and Joseph. So guys, what can I say? Welcome to the crypto lifestyle, the lifestyle where your money works for you instead of you working for that money. And in this live stream, I have a very special treat for everybody. I will be conducting an interview with the representation, Drazen and Joseph, and the team of Tolar Hashnet. Now, for those of you who do not know what Tolar Hashnet is, it is one of the most hyped ICOs and most anticipated ICOs of 2018, in my humbled opinion. But we will get into greater detail on that. The team will describe to you what they are all about. Don't take my word for it. But first, guys, before we get to the interview, I would have to say I would kindly appreciate it if you could smash those like buttons and also smash that subscribe button if you're not a subscriber as yet. I always try to bring you guys the latest of the latest, and this is no different. I also will have to say a quick disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I am strictly a crypto fanatic, and I love investing into cryptocurrencies. So please do your own homework and your own due diligence. So let's get on with this. First and foremost, I just want to thank the team of Tolar Hashnet for coming onto the channel and doing this interview. So thank you, Drazen and Joseph, for your time. I know you guys are pressed for time, and I really appreciate this interview. So I guess we could get right to it. So the first question is this. Okay, so for the person who was hearing about Tolar Hashnet for the first time, they're browsing on YouTube, and everywhere they look in their news feed, it's popping up Tolar Hashnet, Tolar Hashnet. But they're not too sure what Tolar Hashnet is. They're seeing it everywhere. How would you describe, or what exactly is Tolar Hashnet to the newbie?
Well, we like to say that Tolar Hashnet is not just another optimization of a blockchain or just another blockchain, but completely new alternative. So it's a distributed ledger system which solves all the things that were problematic with old blockchains, like scalability and energy usage, while at the same time keeping all the good properties like transparency, anonymity, mutability, and so on.
Okay, I see. So this is Drazen on the left, by the way, guys. He is the president, right, Drazen? I don't know if you want to introduce yourself to everybody.
So I'm principal and co-founder together with Joseph of Tolar.
Okay, perfect. So Drazen is also in the Telegram chat, guys. You could see him there quite often. So I guess So I guess my next question will be to follow up on that answer there. So how or why is Tolar Hashnet different to the already existing blockchains of today? Because there are so many, right? What makes you guys different?
Well, there are several main properties that differentiate us from all the competition. First, as I already mentioned, is scalability, because it was designed to handle up to 200 transactions per second. And even with the number of nodes that participate in the network, when it gets large, that throughput should stay linear. Second, it's fair, because no single miner or entity decides the order of transactions, as is currently the case in standard blockchains. Where miners get to pick which transactions from the mempool they will take in and in which order. Also, it's fast, because the transaction that happens is propagated through the whole network. You do not need to wait for the next block to be created.
Interesting.
It is secure due to the power of distributed ledger algorithms.
I understand. That's
also
fair.
The big difference is that our evaluation will be around $5 million. So I think this leaves plenty of room for growth on exchanges.
So you said, say that again, sorry, $5 million?
Yeah, around five. It will be in the end like $5 million.
Oh, wow.
So when we come to the changes, so it will be very, very cheap, and we believe that we have the
Interesting. So we're going to get to those other questions from the investing side of things, but that's very good to know because my audience, we are investors here, so that's always good to hear. So just to follow up on something, right? I think the community, some of them aren't too sure. So the confusion is people are not too clear if Tolar Hashnet is a DAG or not. I don't know if you could, shed some light on this, elaborate a little bit further, and just let us know, is Tolar Hashnet a DAG?
Yeah, well, I see where the confusion is coming from. As we said, it is a DAG, but it's a novel way, so it's a completely different than all the other existing blockchain DAGs. The ones that do use DAG mostly use it right how the outputs are spent, the ways that are going through the network and so on. When with Tolar, we're using DAG, but only to write down how the information was given to the network. Like when some transaction is created, and then we do our version of reduced redundancy gossip, and in DAG, we store how the information is spread through the network. And that helps us to do something we call virtual voting, which actually helps with the speed part.
Awesome. So you just said it there. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Joseph. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention maybe where the confusion is coming from. So we need we're voting and deciding on consensus. So the nodes that are active in the network are always keeping the last 10 rounds. However, for the rounds before those 10, we can prune the graph and write it down in the normal linked list, something similar to the ordinary block. So the best thing would be maybe to describe it as a sort of a combination, but yeah, it definitely is a DAG, and the consensus is involved just different than all the existing ones.
Interesting. So it is a DAG. Okay, it is a DAG. So let me just take a look at the chat box here. So if, as I mentioned, guys, if you have any questions you want to ask the team, this is your opportunity to do so. But I'm seeing someone says to ask him to speak a little bit louder. How is the audio on your end, guys? Let me know.
We hear you very well.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're good. Okay. Yeah, one of the viewers just says to ask him to speak a little bit louder. So maybe if you guys could come a little bit closer to the mic, perhaps.
Yeah,
but I hear you perfectly fine. Yeah, that works. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned Gossip Protocol or your own version of it. So is it safe to say that Tolar Hashnet has developed its own version of Gossip Protocol? Is that the case?
Well, the Gossip Protocol we're using, it was not developed by us. It is developed by some computer scientists and mathematicians a while ago. However, it is a kind of different than most of the standard push-pull Gossip protocols the other blockchains are using. So for everybody interested, you can search for reduced redundancy Gossip protocol. The sort of Gossip protocol, you make sure that every node in the network gets the information, but that no bandwidth is wasted. So in the traditional push protocols, some nodes can get the same information from multiple places. So basically, the bandwidth is being wasted. And here we create a structure, which means that everybody gets it, but only once.
Interesting. Okay, so now speaking of nodes, so is it safe to say that how does transactions get validated across your network? What consensus mechanism do you guys use? Is it they got proof of work, they got proof of stake? Is it proof of stake, right? Or
yeah, it is a proof of stake, but that's not the main part. It's basically a combination of proof of stake and virtual voting. The first part is we have that I already mentioned in the DAG part. We're writing down how the information, the transaction is being propagated to the network. And that helps us for every node, when we vote on transaction, is it valid, is it in right order, and so on. For nodes, we can calculate what would their vote be if we did the traditional Byzantine fault tolerance algorithm at that point.
Okay, so okay, interesting. So we have here in the live chat, Necreon asks if U.S. residents can invest. Are they allowed to invest into this ICO?
They will be soon allowed because we are coming to changes soon. So in that time they will be allowed.
Okay, so Drazen just says that how you guys would soon be allowed once it hit exchanges. Okay, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just go on with the next question here. Now, in regards to masternodes, okay, I seen on your website it has a maximum of 300 or so. I just wanted to know if that's still the case, and how does somebody apply for this to become a masternode?
Well, there is a link on our website where you can apply to become a masternode. However, this is the case for the first year that we decided. So when we're kickstarting the network, we need to have some to do some tests and so on. And later on, that number will change. So this is only for the early adopters, the guys that want to be on the bleeding edge.
Hey, as I mentioned, you guys have quite the buzz right now, quite the hype. Everybody's talking about Tolar Hashnet, so I think it's a pick of the draw. If you have that luxury of being one of the 300, you're very lucky. Okay, so let's move on to the next one here. So now this is the other thing. This is really cool if this is true. So is it true that a full node can be functional on a smartphone device? Because if that's cool, that's pretty cool. Like if that's true, it's pretty cool.
Yes. That is the point. However, so it is not a masternode, but a full node. For example, on Bitcoin right now, if you want to run a full node, it requires 180 gigabytes, right? And for Ethereum, it's even more. If you want to have a full node with all the transactions not in stream, it's sort of 300 gigabytes at the current pace. However, since we're doing this pruning to the blockchain kind of thing of that, and so we're compressing UTXO model with the if you've been maybe going through the white paper, it helps us to be manageable. So you will be able to run a full node, which will be able to verify all the transactions itself on even on the regular. You need terabytes and terabytes of disk for it.
Okay, perfect, guys. I like what I hear so far. Very fascinating stuff to say the least there. Now, I'm going to get to something very exciting right here. So, in regards to your prototype, the video you guys just released. So, I understand Tolar Hashnet has a prototype, and there was a very exciting video, as I just mentioned. You guys recently released that video, and it displayed a certain amount of TPS. How much TPS was displayed in this video?
Well, the peak one was around 154,000. That's the peak we hit, like at one point in time. However, it was averaging somewhere around the 100 to 130,000.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That's amazing. So for the people, yeah, go ahead, Joseph. Sorry.
To mention maybe the thing I also said on this prototype demo is that we're trying to show that. The concept works itself, the gossip, the consensus, and so on.
Right.
So this is all optimized and so on. So when we get this part going right and finished, then we'll start working on optimizations. And when the finished project is out, we expect this number to grow up.
Okay, that's a sigh of relief there. But just to put us in perspective to the viewers that are watching, and I'm just taking a look at the chat box here. I love your videos, man. I appreciate that, KD. Freedom for all. Oh, yeah. So, guys, look, to put us into perspective, Visa could only do 50,000 transactions per second. These guys just tripled that in their prototype. Or if he's saying 100, they doubled it nonetheless. And they're not stopping there. This is just testing the protocol, making sure everything works, fixing the bugs. Once the mainnet is released, and we will get to that in a second, I'm sure it will be much faster than that. So this is some crazy fast tech. And it's one thing for a team to actually talk about it, but for them to show us that they could do it, you're talking about two different animals here. Now I'm gonna have to ask you guys a question. I'm gonna have to grill you guys on something here, okay? So brace yourself. In regards to being audited, do you guys have plans on auditing your transactions per second and the speed from a third-party company? Is that later down the road, or?
Yeah, for this, we invited everybody who wanted to come. So it was an open demo. Some people even joined us.
So we invite practically all investors to come.
Okay.
Some of the big investors even show up. We also invite some of the influencers. Sorry, we forget to invite you.
It's okay.
Yeah, but for some people, you know, who are like experts, like Andres Ronin, we also give them to review the code, you know. We don't want to be copy in this stage, you know, because there are like some projects which actually copy us, just a white paper, just a web page and nothing, just a concept.
Yeah.
And they were able to raise like 20, 30 million dollars like this, you know.
Yeah.
So at least we want to show the mainnet running, and then we are planning to copy it, you know, and then they will have chance to copy it. But
Yeah.
for now, we don't want to give them the chance.
Exactly.
Yeah, and also, as that said, you're also, you and all the other influencers, investors, if you say, I want to come see it myself, you're free to come. We'll show you the servers, the logs, whatever you want to see, the code, you know.
Yeah.
So, and also at some point when we think it's ready, the testnet, we will have a public testnet as well. So then everybody will be able to verify
Okay.
what they want.
No problem. So this is the other thing. So we've seen, you know, we love infrastructures. My audience and myself, we love infrastructures. So we've seen some ICOs that came out in the past, and they're claiming to do these like 1 million, 10 million TPS per second. I don't know. Do you guys see yourself, you know, reaching that that point maybe further down the line? Is that possible even?
Well, yeah, it is possible, but those numbers that they're claiming, they're kind of misleading. You know, they're claiming millions, tens of millions. I think somebody like yes, but the point is what they're claiming with that. That means like on the second layer, on the side chains. You know, this is the number we showed on the main chain. The number of events that could be agreed on the main chain. And of course, you can always add some of the second layer solution, like the sidechains or any of the second layer solutions to it. And basically, yeah, you can claim that any two nodes in an open separate channel and just communicate, you know, as fast as they want.
Right.
But the point is, I think that when you're saying how much transactions per second your network can handle, you should be referring to the main chain speeds,
Got you.
not these second layer solutions, because then you can claim infinities. You know.
Okay, Joseph is dropping the knowledge and teaching everybody out there that's watching. That's cool. So this is the thing. So do you think, you know, millions is something that's exaggerated in my opinion? What's a realistic, you know, milestone in terms of TPS for you guys? You saying 200,000, maybe 500,000 is a possibility? Something more closer to that range?
On the main chain, probably not, because the 200,000 on the main chain is like material limit we calculated with this algorithm. However, if it ever shows up the need to have higher throughput for any reason whatsoever, it's always easier to add, then in addition to that, to add the second layer solutions, which can increase that.
Okay, perfect. So I just want to go back to the chat box here. So guys, you know, get your questions ready. I know Alex, Dutch Crypto, he asked me a question and I would ask that after this. So get your questions ready and I will definitely ask these guys, okay? So let's move on to the next one here. So, okay, we're going to go to competitors. You mentioned copycats, right? And there are people and companies out there that have similar protocols. So in regards to your competitors out there who have similar technology, for example, I'm going to say them. I'm sorry, guys. Hashgraph, okay? Everybody knows Hashgraph as well. Can you tell me the benefits of Tolar Hashnet in comparison to a company like Hashgraph?
I'm on the business side, and you also tell it from the technical side. So the main advantage is they are a great project, you know, but main is that for somebody who is like investor, is that we are like 50 to 60 times cheaper, you know, so it will be much easier to, let's say, grow fast. But I don't have, they will surely also grow, you know, they will definitely be mainstream. You know, the world is big, you know, we are already start to talk with many governments, with many big companies who are interested to develop our solution, you know, they will definitely be cheaper in transactions, cheaper in implementation, you know, because all the stuff when you implement in government, in organization, you need people to implement this, and now people will be much, let's say, less expensive than theirs. So yeah, there will be like great competitors. Some other projects, we look ourselves somewhere between Hyperledger and Ethereum. Why Hyperledger? Because they are actually doing real implementation into governments, into big companies, like we are planning to do on much more efficient technology. And also Ethereum, which is platform for most successful platform for ICOs. And we will also be platform for ICOs, but all these dApps which can't be able to work properly on Ethereum will be able to switch to us, like I don't know, like some exchanges, whatever, because we don't have some scalability and other problems what Josip will describe.
Yeah, and the second thing that's maybe more from this technical side now, as you said, everybody knows about Hashgraph, and then you probably also note that there will be only 39, let's call it masternodes, that will have all the consensus power and all the voting power for the network. And those 39 nodes will be given to the companies of their own choosing. Here, we will give those masternodes to people who actually want to use the network, improve the network, and so on, to the common people, let's say. You know. So they will be able not only to participate in consensus and verify it is correct, but also vote on the governance projects.
Right.
That's really the first solution. And so this will be truly distributed ledger in the full sense of word. While like having only 39 nodes that process everything on all the other nodes being light nodes, you know, not so much different than the distributed payment system, like you said, like Visa and so on.
Right.
And of course, the second thing is that we're planning at some point to release it to the public, the source code.
Yep.
And of course, for example, if you want to run Hashgraph client, you will have to download it and trust that it does exactly what they say it does, nothing more. You know. Here,
Right.
from like the security point of view, if you wanna, you can go to the whole code, check exactly what it does. Does it do something malicious? Does it not, and so on.
Right.
Or
Thank
even
you.
participate in the further development if you're interested.
Interesting. That's a full in-depth explanation there. Guys, don't mind me. Every time I look like this, I'm just trying to view the chat box and see if anybody's asking some questions here. So don't get distracted by that. This is the thing I don't like about Hashgraph personally. Okay. Number one, it was only open to accredited investors. Okay. So a guy like myself, a guy like my audience, the average person couldn't invest. Okay, into something, and it's reminding me like the stock market where only these VCs are getting in on the action. So that didn't sit well with me and my people. That was my big problem. Now, going back to the source code, I know you say right now it's private and only open to certain people. In the future, is this something you're going to have open or no? You're going to keep it closed?
That's the plan. So at some point, in the future, we will open source our GitHub repositories. And now, for anybody who's interested and we believe has technical competence and so on, we give him access. We can do our code reviews. As Dražen mentioned, some of them do it only for their groups, some they do it for the public. Like the public.
Okay. So we're going to get into more of the investing side of things here, like numbers, hard cap, things like that. Okay. As I mentioned to you guys earlier, we are investors here. So let's get right to this one here. What is your hard cap set at? I know you guys had it at a certain amount, then you changed it slightly, or?
So our hard cap is set up in meters. It was 45,000 meters. We are now in ICO. It will end soon, 1 or 2 days. Yeah. And I can say we will not be able to fill it. It will come to like 30,000 meters. And then we will stay like that. So we will burn the rest of the tokens, which.
Right. So that.
So it will make us very, let's say, cheap initial entry investor for common people when we come to exchange it.
Interesting. So wait.
Okay, we can also say the market is very bad for crypto. It is. We predict it will be sort of purgatory in next year. So yeah, we are quite confident that our technology will survive all these challenges. It is even better that some of the projects which are not show anything over time uh, yeah,
Yeah.
better side. Yeah.
So in US dollars, that equates to, I believe, about $10 million, is it? You said 35,000 ETH, is it?
No, it's for the time to be like more like 5 billion.
5 billion. Guys, if you're talking about a market cap that has room to grow, that is immensely undervalued, to say the least. Okay? And for a project like this, that's infrastructure. Look, I'm just telling you guys know how numbers work, and we're talking about a 5 million hard cap slash market cap going into the markets. That's a crazy amount to grow, okay, guys? That's all I got to say there.
Yeah, you know, now the situation on the market is very bad, you know, but we believe when our mainnet will be working in next year, you know, and no others will not be working. So when we will have like real implementation of our solution in governments and companies, you know, that we will have organic growth of our value, you know.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's more than fair.
The mentioning Hashgraph recently officially announced a single-digit percentage. I think it was 3 or 5% for $120 million. So I think you can do the math yourselves.
Hey, I'm saying this right now live on air. We got 18 people watching. Hashgraph could get wrecked. Okay, so let's go on to the next question here. So, so for one Tolar, how much is one Tolar? And I know we went over the overall hard cap, but just per coin, how much is it? Do you guys have those numbers off the top of your head?
Yeah, we know them because we saw them 1,000 times. You know. $1 is currently 0.000145 ether, or maybe the other way, 1 ether is $6,894.
Okay.
And
Okay.
at the current price of ether, that's around 3 cents per dollar.
3 pennies. Okay, awesome, guys. I love what I hear. Let's move on to the next question. So once again, this is about investing, and I believe the public sale is live right now, right?
Yeah, the ICO is ongoing. So, but it's like ending in 1 more day. So.
Okay. So this is.
Participate.
So for people who are watching and they're thinking of investing, you know, maybe when this video goes on to YouTube after the live stream, what was the bonus in the previous sale?
So highest bonus was 20%.
Okay, that's standard. That's pretty standard across the board.
So,
nothing crazy.
You know how this successful projects works. We choose another way. We believe in some long-term value proposition, and yeah, we have this highest bonus of 20%. And it was also 10% bonus for some investors who put more less than 10 eters. Yeah, so.
Okay, cool. That's fair. Right. And in regards to your mainnet, when is this set to launch? Any specific dates, or is it just a general area, or?
Well, for now, the official stance is the second quarter of 2019. You know, so this is the thing. We will have like transactions, the money transactions, like things that need to be secure, right? So we don't want to release a big product. So for now, we'll just leave it at the second quarter of 2019, and we have then enough time to make sure everything is ironed out and ready for prime time.
Okay, perfect. So I'm looking again here at the chat box, and we have here Donny Boy 8 says, "Great interview, thank you, bro." He's also asking if you could give them some more information on the master node. So how much is needed for the master node? I guess you're referring to how much Tolar tokens, Donny?
Yeah, this is like $500,000 now.
Okay.
When we started, this was much bigger amount. Now this amount is much lower.
Right.
Now when we started with this preparation, we were looking on dollars, but now when we switched to Ethereum, Ethereum went down, so it's like this. How much?
Yeah, so if you want to calculate it in dollars, that's around $15,000-$16,000 right now.
Okay.
It
About
was
50.
about
Yeah, no, that's not bad. So to answer your question, Donnie, is about 500,000 Tolars, which equates to about 15,000 US dollars, or maybe 16,000, give or take. You guys keep bringing in the questions, okay? I'm gonna go on with my own here. So I also noticed, Drazen, you've been traveling a lot. I believe you guys were in Taiwan. I had the pleasure of meeting Igor here in Toronto. What are you guys doing on these trips exactly?
I don't actually like to travel too much, but we have a big team, so everybody's somewhere. Just now our director, who is the former state secretary of Slovenia, is in Taiwan again with delegation of European Union, meeting Taiwan government, Taiwan universities, and talking about possibility of cooperation implementing for the government. He had last week he was in Paris on OECD meeting with three other prime ministers, you know. So like we are talking, we have this luck that we have people in a team who are able to talk on this level. You know, we are also try to do the work with Mauritius government, with Bahrain government, with some, let's say, governments who are providing, and to show off our technology and what are the possibilities for implementation and benefit organizations. So also like there is plenty vertical solutions, you know. One will be developed by ourselves, you know. Some others will not because we didn't collect too much funds. But in a time we will have plenty of our own vertical solutions which will be able to work great in different industries.
Interesting, interesting. I like to hear that. You know, when the team gets out there and they're showcasing what they have to offer to the world, because this is a world-changing technology, guys. Okay. On to the next question here. So this is a thing. Some of the community members, they're asking that, you know, you delay the launch of tokens going live to the exchanges until the markets gets a little bit better, at least. I don't know if this is something that crossed your mind or you're considering of doing. Maybe you could elaborate on this further.
No, we have like we listen to community voice. You know, this is important. So we were approached by our big investors who are with us from the start. You know that we consider to postpone the listing. You know, due to this bad market situation. So we didn't make any decision so far, but we want to listen to community, and every day something is changing. So we still have enough time to make decision who will be right and fair. We want to stick to our roadmap, and it says that we will be on 30 of 1st of September on exchange. So we want to do it. But imagine if like 60 or 80 or 90% of people who invest ask you to do the opposite, you know.
Right.
You have to listen to them,
Right.
you know.
Right.
In the end, Tolar is our responsibility. We will be one to blame. We need to weigh this thing down. It is very hard situation for crypto, and we need to take this in account and be very serious about it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I noticed that you guys do have, I believe, on your announcement channel, there's a voting system there. And so far, we could check right now. I think it was 66% were voting that we wait, you know, until the markets get a little bit better, or just a further date. So.
Yeah. Also, you have to take in account that we talk in private with many bigger investors who invest like hundreds and thousands of, you know. So we will leave this open for a few days. We still have time to make the right decision, but in this case, this is really dilemma, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Why dilemma? You know, everything what you do is not right or wrong. You know, it is actually not fair for somebody because we have some roadmap and we want to keep it up, but. So let's say maybe majority will not be happy with this, or maybe it is hard to please everybody in this situation. So So we have to listen to community and try to find the best solution, which will be best for all.
Yeah, that sounds fair. So I know some people say, I don't know, it depends on, I guess, some people say the audio is okay or not, but I'll just repeat what he says. So pretty much, Drazen is saying that how community is important, and he has to look at both sides. There are private investors that invested hundreds of thousands, and you know, they got guys like us, and he's just going to see how it goes. And their community is important to him, so that's great. And he's going to weigh out his options, guys. Okay, guys, the interview is almost done. So if you want to leave your questions in the chat box, kindly do so now. And I have about one more question to ask these gentlemen here, so you guys could go ahead with yours in the chat box. But U2 says the market can go up from here or go down from here, but everyone has expected September 30th, so you can't go wrong. That's true. At the end of the day, nobody could really predict the market. So if you wanted to wait for the markets to get better, we could be waiting for a whole year. You know, so you know, you can't really.
It's not to wait the markets to be absolutely better. You know, there are some certain events which will happen maybe around 30th of September. So maybe think about that into account. You know,
Yeah.
we can't wait for long. You know, we actually want to release this as soon as possible. You know, be able to like concentrate more on developing technology and selling this technology to the customer. This is something what we know, and this crypto is for us completely new, a new situation. You know, certain different rules are valid here. So also we need to think about what will happen with the tokens on exchange. So we have the most of amount of dollars in our control so far. You know, so we will be losing the most theoretically, you know, but we will not sell it for years. So we believe that in the next year they will work much more, because we don't think that anybody will have something working like what we will have, and nobody else will be able to sell it in a way we want to sell it, you know, and the cost which will be much lower than anybody else. You know, Hyperledger is doing great into selling their stuff, but they have 1,500 people working, you know, and they have much bigger salaries, so we have much smaller teams, so we don't have too much mouth to feed, you know, and we are like lean, and so believe in our business, you know, so we are happy that now we have funds to develop, but we also don't want to leave investors unhappy short term, you know. I believe who will not sell it will be happy sure next year, but who can say for this year what will happen? Exactly. We will definitely not postpone to the next year, but we just want to yes, as I said, hear community voice.
Guys, I like the confidence in Drazen's voice there. He believes in his project, and it's like what Warren Buffett says. He doesn't look at, you know, how the markets are today or tomorrow or next week. He looks like in the next 2 years, the next 3 years, right? More long term. So that's amazing. Let me see the chat box here. Shirag, hey Shirag, you joined the stream. He says, hey buddy, ask them, will tokens get unlocked immediately after the ICO? Or they will wait for the better market conditions? No, so he pretty much just answered that, right?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, he just answered that there. What exchange can we look for after the ICO? Zerpork asks.
We are looking on several exchanges.
Yeah.
We are talking for months with several exchanges.
Right. So Zerpork, you know, this is how it works. You know, companies, they cannot release this type of information. This is confidential. This is how it works with every ICO blockchain startup. So here we go. I believe that's it. Stay present, worry about now. Exactly. Enough, Nubel. Okay, guys, so we're going to wrap this up. This is the last questionnaire. The floor is yours, Drazen and Josip. So if someone wanted to invest into Tolar Hashnet right now, how would they go about it, and why should they do it?
Well, I'll say how they should go about it, and then Drazen will do it. So if anybody wants to invest, it's really simple. Go to our homepage, tolar.io, and from there is all the instructions. If they're not already whitelisted, they just need to do the quick whitelisting process. and then, of course, send the funds. And if they're already whitelisted on our homepage, there is an address of our smart contract, and they can just send how much ethers they want.
Okay, so no, go ahead, Raisin. Go ahead.
Yeah, for why I would say people should do their own diligence. This crypto market is horrible. When something 99% is scam, you have very good chances that something is fake and scam. We believe in our stuff, but we don't want to persuade people to invest. They should be very careful. They should read all more articles, white paper, try to meet teams like trying to introduce this stuff, and they should be very careful.
Yes.
I believe we are like best product and let's say ICO in the market, but next year we'll tell are we a real deal or not. In this year it's very show something. Either we show this prototype like first time in the world, on 12 nodes. Some people it's impossible to have it on more than 12 nodes. It will not work on more than 5 nodes. So that's why we show off this on 100 nodes, and we will show it next year. Our mainnet working and be operational, and solutions working on the top of Hashnet. This is what I can say.
Okay, that's a perfect answer there. One last look here at the chat box. Where is it? So Nuffnoodle says, that's a vague answer on exchanges, but that's just how it is. But he's asking if there's any confirmed exchanges. Not necessarily, you don't have to name them, but any confirmed ones.
Yeah, it's always legal stuff. You can't say nothing about it. So
Understandable.
Simply how all exchanges, first you need to sign NDA before anything, and then you have to watch every word after that. So
yeah, the point is that they put into the agreements we were signing on, if we mentioned before they announce it, that it will be dropped immediately. So we're being careful here.
Okay, so I think that's pretty much it here, guys. So, in conclusion, I really do love what I hear from the team. Guys, whether you love world-changing technology or whether you love a great ICO that has a potential for massive returns like myself, that's what I like. I like both, though. I like the later a little bit more. But Tolar Hashnet has it all. It truly has the best of both worlds. And I think I'm going to end this interview right now. So once again, guys, thank you for conducting this interview, and I look forward to the success and the launch of Tolar Hashnet in the near future, the mainnet in particular next year. I know, by the way, don't forget to send Igor my best regards, okay? And anytime you guys are in Toronto and you need anything, let me know, all right?
come to us, brother.
I'll come to you guys. Hey, you guys travel too much, man. I gotta try to catch up to you guys. But I want one last thing before we go. Could you guys see this? It's the crypto lifestyle, baby.
This is the crypto lifestyle, baby.
That's what we're talking about, guys. So, guys, that pretty much wrapped things up with the interview. So there ain't really much left to say other than until the next video, you're on your own. Later.